Hello, fishermen. This is Lang Solberg, commercial fisherman and business development manager for Deckhand Pro. We're starting where we left off in the during fishing video, where you can either select start again to begin another fishing effort, such as a haul or a tow, or if you're done fishing for the day, you can tap end trip in the bottom left-hand corner. But first, a quick note about fishing efforts and when to begin new ones. You can record as many fishing efforts as you wish using Deckhand Pro. Some fishermen prefer to record as few efforts as possible based on Garfo's rules, but some fishermen also prefer to record efforts for every tow or haul. It's really up to you, so long as you're paying attention to Garfo's rules surrounding fishing efforts, which say that a new effort must be started if you transit into a new chart area, change gear types, or change mesh size. But again, depending on how you like to track and record fishing activity for your own personal use, you can use Deckhand to record as many towing or hauling efforts as you wish. But for this example, let's go ahead and select End Trip, bottom left-hand corner. Another friendly message pops up asking if you're really ready to end your trip. After you've read that, you can tap End Trip. And this is the first part of the landing details process. So Deckhand brings across all of the species that you reported in your individual fishing efforts and the associated weights into the landing report here. Garfo says that our weights recorded in our fishing efforts must match the weights in our sales report or landing report. And this is what we do automatically for you to save you time, especially in those multi-species fisheries where you may have several species across multiple fishing efforts that would be a pain to add up manually. Notice the red exclamation symbol next to the species. This indicates that we need to fill in a couple more details here, and we'll do so by touching that sea scallop bar, which expands, asking us to input the dealer and the offloading port. I'm going to tap that black box to select the dealer. And we're going to go ahead and just, for this example, choose the first option in the list, 365 Fish LLC. And then the offloading port must also be selected. And I'm, again, just going to select the first choice in the list. Now that we've selected the dealer and offloading port, all of our warning symbols are gone. The landing is ready to proceed. And also please note that your trip ID is sitting there in the very bottom of the report. This is really useful when the time comes to share your trip ID with your dealer. We'll go ahead and tap Next. Now, Deckhand brings you back to the trip details screen, which is where we started when we were warming up our engine and getting ready to steam out to the grounds. There are a couple of differences here, though. Deckhand also includes the landed date and time that is automatically set to the current day and current time, and that can be changed if necessary. And Deckhand also includes a trip comments section at the very bottom, which is where you can enter any comments you want to jot down for your own use, but these trip comments aren't sent to Garfo. Everything looks pretty good here, and we don't need to change anything, so we'll just go ahead and tap Confirm. The last message says that our trip is now complete, and be sure to check the associated report preview in the blue trip header for any outstanding items that might require our attention. We'll just tap OK. What it's talking about here is the blue trip header bar at the very top that says trip and the date. And we'll go ahead and tap that bar to expand it. And this is a really nice feature we've built into Deckhand that can give you comfort surrounding what your VTR looks like before you send it. It can also help in any instance where you're boarded by enforcement or need to otherwise show your VTR to somebody in whatever state it currently is in, irrespective of whether it has been sent to Garfo or not. And in order to do this, again, we just tap that trip header bar in blue, and we'll tap Preview. This is the preview of the electronic trip report, again, that can be shared with anybody by tapping Share in the upper right-hand corner of the screen. And if we wanted to email it to ourselves, text it, Otherwise, send it to a dealer or anyone else that we want to share our trip details with. We can just tap share composition as PDF, but for this example, we will not do that. And you can filter the trip preview by touching any one of the 4 buttons at the top there between all, trip overview, efforts, and landings. So just a quick note here about the preview function. This was developed based on direct feedback from the industry, and it's being used widely across the board as a useful feature in Deckhand. But now that we're ready to submit the eVTR to Garfo, we'll tap the Submit button, again in that blue trip header bar, and we'll certify that the information we're providing is true and correct, hit Accept, and we'll enter our PIN, which you should have set up when you first started using Deckhand. The cloud icon in the trip header indicates that the report has been sent to Garfo's servers, and Garfo is simply running a check and validating that the report is complete and accurate. And you can see that it only took a few seconds before that ribbon appeared in the top of the screen that said report accepted by Garfo. And you also know that the report is accepted by Garfo when you see a green check mark next to the trip header bar. Final step here, if we're done working on our trip, it's sent to Garfo. We don't need to preview it anymore. We don't need to edit any one of the individual components here in the list. It's now time to close the trip. And we'll just open again that trip header bar, the very top bar there, expand it, and tap Close. Deckhand tells us what closing a trip means. It simply means that the trip is put into the closed list, which you can get to at any time by touching Closed in the top left-hand corner, second button from the left. And you can see all of our trips organized by date, the ability to open or preview any one of them. But more importantly, we're back to a clean slate, an empty list, and the ability to tap Go Fishing tomorrow when we warm up and get ready to head out to the fishing grounds for another successful day. Final note, if we tap the plus button on the home screen up here in the center left, we can look at running tallies. Running tallies is a live report that shows how we've been doing with target species and discards on a bar graph, and we can see our total kept, total discarded, average kept per haul, and the total number of hauls. And we can filter this by time frame, as you can see across the top. This is another useful feature that can be accessed at any time throughout the eVTR process and can also be shared. Again, if you see the share button in the top right-hand corner, you can share this with yourself to an email address or with anyone else you wish to share this information with. But another feature in Deckhand that's very useful for fishermen as they wish to look at their performance over time. That's it for me. This is video 3 of 3, how to get from the beginning of your trip all the way through the fishing phase to the end of your trip. We really appreciate you spending some time with us, and we appreciate so much that you're fishing with Deckhand Pro. Good luck fishing, and reach out to us anytime at info@deckhandlogbook.com or our website, deckhandlogbook.com, or social media on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Thanks so much, and good fishing.